Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to the Monday, November 4, 2024 meeting of the Westport Select Board. I just have a couple of announcements today. So today is Monday, November 4, so that means tomorrow is Election Day. So tomorrow, November 5th, the polls are going to be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. I want to encourage voters to go to the Secretary of State's website to review the 5 questions. The questions are long and can be quite confusing, so make sure you read over the questions in advance. But the polls are going to be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. I also want to mention on Monday, November 11, the town offices will be closed in observation of Veterans Day. There will be a ceremony at 10 a.m. on Monday, the 11th of November at the Beech Grove Cemetery. If it rains, that'll be at the annex. So we hope to see you on Monday, the 11th at 10 a.m. Is there any other recognitions or acknowledgements? Okay. Oh, I forgot to say, under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. We don't have any public hearings or licenses. We did just have a meeting 1 week ago. Thank you, Steve, for covering while I was absent. So we have a pretty light agenda tonight. So the first item we have is a request from Police Chief Christopher Dunn to reappoint Ryan Williams as a full-time officer.
I'll move and approve the chief's recommendations.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to reappoint Ryan Williams. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. We have a request from William Bill Sheehan to be appointed as an at-large member to the Offshore Wind Advisory Committee. So there's a letter in your packet. I think this is the final at-large spot that this will be filling.
We've had it posted. I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second to appoint Bill Sheehan to the Offshore Wind Advisory Committee. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. We have a request to appoint the following election workers: Arlene D. Bork, Gail M. Varney, Maureen Fitzgerald, Pamela Wild Stenberg, Patricia C. Ladino, April Palameni, and Heather Reed.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. We have a request from Edward Hahn to be appointed to the Bike Walking Path Committee.
I'll move him. Been very interested, so.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. We had an item on the agenda to appoint the Assistant Town Planner. The candidate has withdrawn, and so we're going to pass over 3E on the agenda. So we do still have an open position for the Assistant Town Planner. Action 4A, a request to sign the employment agreement between the town of Westport and Nicole Pearsall, the town accountant. Jim, you want to walk us through this one?
Yeah, this is the standard, essentially 3% increase. Nicole's done a great job over the last couple of years. You've seen that in the reports, free cash getting certified very early this year. The audit reports, the overall financial team in general has done a nice job in cleaning things up, and I think it's been improving every year. She's passed one part of her certification, and she'll be taking the second part this spring. So, yeah, I recommend approval from the board. She's been doing great.
I'll move her.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Did you want to say anything? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Congratulations again. Well, I'm looking behind you. Okay, so that's, that was unanimous. So the next item we have is a discussion on the Fall River water line billing. Jim, you want to remind us what this is?
Yeah, so we've discussed this a few times. Mr. Soers and myself met with representatives from Fall River a couple of months ago. We had a tentative agreement in place that we discussed with the board probably about a month ago. This agreement went, this refers to previous year billings from 2016 up to 2021. It's been our position that we've paid the amount that we've used, that the users have used, but there's additional amounts that we've been billed for that have been in dispute. So we reached a tentative agreement with the city of Fall River that went to the Watuppa Water Board. The Watuppa Water Board did approve that tentative agreement, but since that time, it went before the city council. The city council has requested that the Watuppa Water Board reconsider that agreement, and I think that is where it is right now. I don't have any correspondence from the Water Board saying that they've withdrawn or changed their vote, but I do believe that vote is going to be reconsidered. They may request that it go to mediation as opposed to us trying to work out a resolution. They sent us a letter. The letter is in your packet. I'd like to send a letter back to Mr. Ferlin. That is in your packet as well, just letting him know that we want to work with the city on this, that we have paid the bills for the water that we've used or that the residents have used, and that's the additional water that's in dispute.
All right, so we have been discussing this in executive sessions about the negotiation, and we were comfortable with the final agreement, or the agreement that was presented to Fall River, so I'm hoping that we can resolve that. If we had a way to pay for it, we believed it was fair and equitable, so it looks like we're going to continue working on that. Is there any questions or comments? Do we have
Just,
anything?
at that Clean Water meeting, I asked Mr. Ferlin if the councilors had addressed it, and just the one that was really poking around, Mr. Hart had called me, and I don't know if he called anybody else, but I hope the councilors will at least talk to him and get all the background on it.
They did have a meeting. The council had a meeting with their finance committee probably about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it was discussed then, and the council had actually requested that the Watuppa Water Board reconsider that agreement.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Is that
Anyone?
everybody?
Okay.
All right.
And the town administrator report is on the agenda, but I don't think you had a report, is that right?
I had no written report, just a couple of quick updates, if
Yeah, go ahead.
would. We're working on the deed transfers that were approved at last year's town meeting. There's a parcel on Cherry and Webb Beach that we're looking to get ownership for through the beach committee. We have a P&S agreement with the owner right now, and we're just waiting for the title search on that, as well as the Tripp property that abuts the transfer station land to the north. We're also waiting on title work to be completed on that, and that should be done fairly soon. Diamond was in here 2 weeks ago doing final measurements for the tables. They said they're going to start on that immediately, and they're also, once that's done, they've committed to the school, I guess, to do display cases for the new school, to mirror the couple of cases that they have there now, to bring over some of the awards and that have been left at the old high school. So hopefully we'll see that in the next month or two. Finance committee has asked that I attend the next meeting, just to go over the free cash and update them. We're real early in the budget right now, so there's not a lot to update them on. We're meeting with department heads this week on their budgets, and there's a schedule I will resend to the board this week, typical budget schedule. We really won't have definitive numbers or good numbers until January as far as the state goes, but the preliminary numbers, local receipts, and those we do have estimates, and I think we're pretty close, so we'll be working on that as well. The Route 6 permit, we're still working with Mass DOT. Mass DOT is very structured, I'm finding. They have a certain way of doing things, and they don't like to vary from that structure, so even getting in touch, trying to set up a meeting with Mass DOT is, they want you to go through their program, their SHOPS program, and file it like everybody else, which we've been doing, but we've been trying to speed it along. We did get a call back last Thursday, and they said they are working on it, and they are looking to expedite it. Hopefully, we'll hear this week.
I just got a question on that, Jim.
Yeah.
So the holdup was Kleinfeld didn't design to their specifications the work that was going into Mass Highway?
Yeah, so Kleinfeld's done a number of projects throughout the state, and they've done their typical design. So they designed the water line down at 4.5 feet minimum depth. Mass DOT does have a requirement, or it's in their policy guideline book, that they like it 5.5 feet deep. They have approved a number of other projects at 4.5, and that's usually kind of typical for most water lines. So we're waiting to see if they'll agree to the 4.5 or the 5.5. It will make a difference because we've gone out to bid already, and the contractors bid on the 4.5. As you know, you go down an extra foot, you might hit the water table, you might,
Well, we might also get conflicts and drainage and stuff like that. And I did notice that the gas company started doing their work in the same location our contractor was supposed to start at. My only concern with that is that it shouldn't affect coming up, like the utility access in where we're looping it from Gifford Road in for the Macumber Loop. I mean, we can make the decision to leave it at 4.5 feet.
Yes.
And that, and they could start in that direction, but, we got any feedback from the contractor on, because I know he wanted to already have started.
Yeah, so he's still doing shop drawings or submittals.
Okay, good, good, all right.
Those are just about done. We had a meeting on Friday about the submittals, so a lot of the equipment, the hydrants, the gaskets and stuff, they submit to the engineer, and the engineer reviews them to make sure they conform to the plan. So that work is pretty much done. He still believes he'll be able to start in another week.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that's kind of important, especially the hydrants, one of the public safety things that we've been looking for, and probably is gonna drop our insurance on the Macumber and all our residents out that way to have a hydrant in front of their house.
And we want to make sure it's consistent with what we have out there. We want to make sure it's consistent with what Fall River has, because a lot of the contractors that we have working in Westport work in Fall River, so we want similar type equipment, similar type fixtures.
Okay, anything else?
And the only other thing is the CIPC. We did get all the requests from the department, so I'll be discussing with the chair, and we'll be setting up meetings in the next few weeks.
And there's, in the packet, there's something about the Grange crosswalk. Is that left over from last week?
That is, we had a request,
Okay.
and it's being reviewed by the police and highway.
All right, so it was just, okay.
Well, Madam Chair, if I may, on that item, I had raised that issue, I know you were out, regarding the St. John the Baptist Church made a similar request, because they have a religious education building, and it's right in the, very across the street from the Grange. So they had made that request to me to pass it on, and then Paula pointed out that that letter from the Grange came in also, so it's sort of like a two-part request.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the next item we had on the agenda was the minutes of October 28th, but I don't see them in the packet. Were there minutes from October 28th?
I saw him.
Did you?
I-
Everybody else see them?
If no one else saw him, I can't.
I'm gonna have to, I'm
Hold them off.
abstaining, so it doesn't matter to me, but I didn't see them in
Let's
the,
hold them till the next one.
I might have gotten it in my
Mine.
capacity.
you probably got them and they're not in the packet. So we're gonna pass over the approval of the 28th. Was there a bill warrant between then and now?
Yes, by the way, this mic is not showing green, so I'll speak loud. Yeah, I signed the warrant last week, October 30th. Routine, it was $2 million. That's, I know that's real money, but normally it's even higher than that, and we've seen some pretty robust reports that everything is in order.
Okay, thank you. We have liaison committee reports or suggestions for future agenda items. Craig, anything for you?
Nothing new since last week.
Okay. Jake?
Nothing new in terms of meetings, but I was gonna ask about the calendar for 2025, to suggest we put on a future meeting,
Okay.
because we've had the material. I guess there's two versions of it, we can talk about it. Posted on when you're ready.
Okay. I was away and then ill, so I did not attend anything recently.
Mostly just catch up stuff, and the bike committee was excited about Mr. Hahn coming on, and after the end of this week, we'll probably work on an IOC meeting to get the neighborhood and chat, have a little forum there.
Meaning?
Pretty much the same. Thanks, Jim, for the update.
Yeah.
Okay.
We missed you.
Do we have any comments or statements from the public? We have two public here. It's really exciting.
3, actually.
Well, we have three if you count the operator. All right, and I don't think we have any topics unanticipated. So as expected, this was a quick meeting. Our next meeting will be on Monday, November 18. But again, make sure you go to the polls tomorrow if you haven't already voted, and then November 11 at the Veterans Day ceremony.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous.